Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big Rostermania updates going down last night, especially with the destination of Aspas potentially being revealed after the bleed situation fell through and Leviathan not wanting to seem to hold on to him, given that Demon 1 is going to be their replacement and they need a buyout. A new team has raised into the conversation as well, but many other big updates around the VALORANT world of the day. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Pretty cool as well to see the Cloud9 boys, of course, over there right now in Korea doing a boot camp going into the new season. They have played a number of players over the last few days, and one of which there was a ranked game going on against Kankang was on the other side. I think Texture maybe was on Oxy's team here, and he dropped like a 40 bomb, and he had a nice ace against Kankang's team. Pretty remarkable actually, and exciting to watch this guy play, of course, for the upcoming year. This was interesting too from Marco, founder and CEO over at M80, and he says, should M80 stay in VALORANT? I mean, obviously I'm going to say yes, and most people are going to say yes, but then he says, oh, just saw this region shield, forget it, we're going to be out of here, right? So we don't know whether M80 are really going to stay around or not. Of course, he's entertaining the possibility of them doing exactly that, but at the same time, we know that M80, after failing to qualify through Ascension again, are they really going to run it back for another year? Maybe unlikely. The thing is, though, for a team like M80, they would love to be in Boom Esports position, right? You guys know that Bleed Esports, over in the APAC side, they won Ascension. They had an absolute disaster class. Their organizations fully collapsed and burned, and I feel like many of us may have seen that coming over the last couple of years. The amount of money they were spending, apparently, the amount of money that they apparently had, but I don't really know if any of that was legit. And then Boom Esports, who were second in Ascension this year, because Sinprasa Gaming won, but of course they were second Boom Esports, they then get promoted because Bleed Esports were gone. And M80 would love that to be the case, but, you know, are there any organizations in the Americas that are going to collapse and burn that will give them that opportunity? Possibly not. EG has been the closest over the last few years, but it seems this year they're forming a better roster, and, Ye is still rumored to go to EG as it stands. We'll see if that goes anywhere. But as he mentions, there were some updates yesterday to VALORANT. So, for example, of course, the changes now we're seeing to Sunset. We saw these rumored the other day, so some relatively sizable additions to the map, and I feel like this should make the map better, but look, we shall see. Fundamentally, the map is not dissimilar at all to what it was like previously, but there's also this, right? So we have a new armor type in the game, and it's a regen shield. And you guys can see that Phoenix here is able, because he can, regenerate health, to heal his own shield as well. So this is a very, very interesting development here in VALORANT, a new shield type arriving into the game. Now, what does it do for agents that can't heal themselves? Is it possible to still heal your own shield, or is that not possible and it requires another agent to heal you to make it work, and therefore this is going to be more effective on agents that can heal themselves? Is this balanced? Is this reasonable? I don't know. I guess we shall see. But patch 9.10, we're going to find out, because that's a big change. And Phoenix himself actually did get buffed as well. His flash now comes back and recharges with 2 eliminations. So they're trying to make Phoenix better. I get it. I know that other people are saying, oh, well, here we go again. They're adding new bundles to the game that you can buy. They're adding all of this. And where's the replay system? And I get it for sure. But, it's right. Games at the end of the day, they're here to make money. That's how it works. Shareholder value, baby. Quickly on Zeltis, as we're going to talk about Rostermania stuff. This account, pretty funny account, Sentinel's Chair. So, here it is. And it's taken to the timeline, followed by Kaplan Rob Moore. Probably I should follow the account as well, to be fair. But, yes, as Sentinel's Chair says, few words from me, because I see all the comments on to write back to everyone, basically making a joke about Zeltis retiring. And Zeltis then says the following: I don't mind the jokes about it, just don't want it getting too out of hand, or people believing that I'm going to retire. I've been trying to squash the retirement jokes because I don't want that type of thing circulating, he says, which is pretty rare that Zeltis will be this candid publicly. Zeltis' usual persona on the timeline is just, joking around memester. But here he seems to be, very honest and open about it. Like, I've been trying to squash these retirement jokes, so I don't want that type of thing circulating. I guess let's just quickly, out of interest here, go back and see whether that tweet still exists from, this tweet still exists, right? But obviously this is from Sentinels, count your days, buddy, days until I turn 18, 192, which is Sentinels themselves making this joke, right, about Redux replacing Zelsis when the time comes. But, so I guess this doesn't specifically infer Zelsis' retirement, but I think it's a little bit interesting that Zelsis is trying to play down these kind of theories circulating around around whether Zelsis is going to call it a day at some point, and yet Sentinels are kind of still pushing that message on some level. But intrigued to your thoughts as ever in the comments. More Rostermania drama though. So BBL, they are forming a new roster. We know that Yampi is coming into their team, and he apparently is going to in-game lead the roster. There's been some big talk about this today. It's a general theory, isn't it, in FPS games, like star players or players with lots of talent becoming in-game leaders. Does it affect them? Is it really the best idea? Often they've been players that are very talented, that they want to take up the IGL responsibilities because they feel like, oh, they understand how to make things work, and they, you know, can benefit themselves and the rest of the team by doing so. Doesn't always work like that. But yeah, interesting international team here from BBL with Jampi, you know, running up the IGL. I don't know. I'm not convinced personally. And it's the same concern I have in some respects with the Team Vitality roster, right? So they confirmed it yesterday. It's Derke time. And, you know, pretty good video to be fair. Derke comes in, locked in. Obviously, we knew this was happening, right? And as he says, very excited to join this team with amazing and promising players. Next year is going to be exciting. The boys already felt very welcoming and really hungry to win. So excited for that next season. Thanks to Fnatic as well. Everyone helped me to become the player and person I am today. We always had fun, amazing work ethic, right? So he decided on some level to join this team. We know that there were only a couple of teams that were really willing to pay the buyout. NRG, we think, was one. They eventually got Marder effectively instead. But yeah, Vitality was another, and that's where Derke preferred to go. Now, it is interesting, right? Because this guy Connor in the reply says, leaving a team that's won you know, international tournaments twice and multiple tourneys is baffling to me. You lot have the ability to win majors. I don't see why you'd leave to try and find better. And then Derke's like, you say it like it was my decision, right? So it is interesting, like, because Fnatic, when they say goodbye, they'll say, you know, farewell and thanks to Derke, none of what we accomplished would have been possible without you. And they make all these nice words, but it's like, they did kick him at the end of the day, right? Like, they did decide they weren't good enough. They needed to make a replacement, and they're bringing in, you know, Kajak for Derke, and they're making a change. It's like, it's not like Derke just left and departed of his own volition. He wanted to stay. Like, but no, the team decided to kick him out. So Derke's at least making that pretty clear, and, you know, I'm sure that there's part of Derke's mentality that therefore wants to beat those guys going into the upcoming season. And obviously Boaster was also saying, wouldn't be where I am today without this guy, wishing the best type thing. So it's always interesting, isn't it? I find it, when players are like, oh, miss this guy, like, I can't believe you're going type thing. It's like, well, you know, you did get rid of him. Like, the team got rid of him on some level. Like, there's clearly a reason why. Now, one of the dramas, though, on this Vitality roster is the fact that Safe is going to be the in-game leader. And it's always a question, isn't it, when you put talented players like this and they decide to take up the IGLing role. My read on this is either this works spectacularly and they're literally winning international tournaments, as to be fair, this roster should, or it just fails spectacularly and it's like NRG 2.0 and like NRG from last year, right, when there was no FNS there, and the plan was to have Ethan in-game lead and have these like players IGL and take on those responsibilities. I will say this tends to work less frequently than it tends to work. And when you put all the talent together and you just say, all right, Safe, you're going to now be the leader. And that's what he says. Me taking on the leadership role is not an organizational decision. It stems from the trust that my teammates have put in me. We did research. We considered options. We're all doing something that we all believe in. That's what Manazzi says. So, look, they've put together a super team. Less Safe, you know, Derke, the rest of exactly what they're going to do elsewhere. Not yet been, you know, kind of fully finalized and confirmed. But, I mean, yes, they are putting together a serious super team on paper. Whether it actually works, that is the other question, because often these things don't necessarily tend to. But let's talk about some of these MIBR rumours, because one of the big debates has been, where is Aspas going to go, if anywhere? We know that he was linked to Bleed, then he was linked to Dragon Ranger Gaming, right? But and therefore there's been a theory, and even his agent came out publicly and said they are talking to other parties, looking at opportunities, but Aspas's intention is to go and play in the Pacific. He wants to play in the Pacific, wants to play in China, potentially at least. Bleed gave him the opportunity to do that and play in the Pacific region. But then, of course, it turned out the money they were offering him wasn't actually real. So that all collapsed. Bleed got kicked out of the ecosystem. So technically, Aspas is still on Lev. But they've signed Demon 1 as his replacement, effectively. And I don't know if they really have the cash to keep Aspas on. So ideally, Lev want to sell him. And which organizations can buy him? There aren't many. But according to yesterday's rumors, MIBR are now in that discussion, right? So, yeah, news came out that apparently essentially, pretty much what's happened here is MIBR nearly had a lineup set, and then Aspas became available, and then they decided that of all the players they were potentially going to sign, their number one target and option was actually going to go to Aspas now. So once it was determined that he was available, then interest in signing the former Lev duelist has emerged, and now they have basically are going to test players recommended by him. So the rumor has it that Fraud, who was with Aspas before and is now over at MIBR, recognizes how absurdly good Aspas is, and if you can get him, you really have to try. And I think this is commendable because I've been somewhat surprised by the organization. Aspas is literally the best player in the world. I think you can argue that definitely. There are other candidates, but Aspas is right up there. You can't go over that name without thinking about, best in the world in Valorant. So the fact that there have been not that many organizations talking about him that much tells me that his buyout must be pretty mega. All the teams just think, you know what, integrating him into the system, building the team around him, it's going to be a bit of a problem. But someone's going to give it a go. And apparently that's going to be MIBR. So after forming their roster, MIBR are now saying, look, no, we want Aspas from Lev. We're going to bring him in and we're going to let him choose the team, basically. So, this is a big responsibility. Again, will Aspas do the best job of building the team? It's a question because in the same way that Safe is a phenomenal player, Jampy's a phenomenal player, good player, maybe not as good as Safe, whatever. Are they good in-game leaders? Maybe not. Maybe they are. I don't know. I guess time will tell. Aspas is a phenomenal player, even better than the other two that I mentioned. But is he a great team builder? Does he have a real, understanding and grasp on that? Maybe not. I don't know. So I think this is always the risk of allowing your star player to build your roster. But it can never be a terrible idea because at least they're going to be comfortable in the team that they decide to build. So that's the rumor anyway, that MIBR Aspas is coming true soon. But as ever, very much intrigued to your thoughts on whether this is a good idea or whether this is going to work in the comments section below. So hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.